27th of Sivan marks the Hilula of a famous Greek rabbi. His name was Rabbi Moshe Irrara Z'tl, one of the famous rabbis from Greece, from Saloniki, towards the late 1800s, early 1900s, and really make his imprint in the land of Israel. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, I believe he was born in English year 1878 in Saloniki, respectively, Greece, and he passed away on the 27th of Sivan in 1958 in Tel Aviv. He'd gone to become a great rabbi in Saloniki and the head of Jewish court towards the end of his life, and part of the great rabbis, Din, the Jewish structure in Tel Aviv. Now, he would learn at a young age in the Talmud Torah yeshiva Or Chaim in Saloniki, very, very famous place, a place I believe we've spoken about on various occasions before. And he would learn there until I think he would immigrate to the land of Israel, which is interesting enough. He would be very much part of that yeshiva institutions and would move to the land of Israel with his wife, Rabbanit Plata, I believe. And which, very, very interesting enough, many people were coming at that point in time. And he also, his sons, Yaakov and Elazar, if I'm not mistaken, the name was. I think this was approximately around 1931, 1932. And this would have been at the, let's just say, he was using a certificate also. I think he had a rabbinic ordination at that point in time and made a connection to the chief rabbinate through a mediation of Rabbi Ben Sion Meir Chai Uziel. Remember, he was a chief rabbi itself of Eretz Yisrael, I think between the years 1948 and 1953, respectively. Now, he would move in a neighborhood in Tel Aviv, in southern Tel Aviv, called Florentine, a place I think we've spoken about before on this series, which was very interesting enough. And yeah, so that was a big move at the time. I think we're talking about some years before even the formation, when Medinat Yisrael was actually based, which was created in of itself. His son Avram, I think, would actually go before him to make Aliyah in Eretz Yisrael and would stay in Tel Aviv. Now, I believe, come what the Hebrew year, Hetaf Resh Tzadik Dalet, his wife sadly passed away, it was. And he would be then later on appointed, I think, through Rabbi Uziel, part of the Bet in the great Betin court in Tel Aviv. And this would be a position I think he would take on for many, many years. I think would serve, I think, even till the age of 77 years old. He would be part and very much serve as a rabbi of the Saloniki community in Tel Aviv, which was a very prominent position, a very responsible position, and brought about, let's just say, a huge amount of prestige also at the same time. Now, I think his grandchildren, included among his grandchildren, let's just say, includes, I believe, Amnon Harari, who happened to be he had a head position, I think, in the Tochnit Halal, I think various different parts of, within regards to security departments in the country, respectively. I believe that's interesting enough. I think he's still alive, actually. Amnon Harari, it's his descendant, and I think he's about 75 years of age now, and was part of the Ministry of Defense Space and part of huge roles within regards to Israeli Air Force, in regards to commanders, and I think he himself, his grandson, was awarded an Israel Defense Prize, which is an interesting tidbit also. So that's one of his grandchildren. Another, just exploring some more, I think most notably there's a Rabbi Moshe Harari, who is named actually after him, is also a great rabbi at the moment. Just to explore, I think he himself was born in the year 1955. He's a Dati Leumi rabbi. I think part of had a huge part of Merkaz Harav in its history, and has various different roles. He's author of 3 different books, including Mikra'ei Kodesh, the Kedushat HaShabbat, and Kedushat HaShvi'it. For example, I think he's part of the Yeshivat Bnei Akiva Nachalim and the Yeshivat Merkaz Harav, various different positions he has had in itself. And much more can be said related within regards to his brilliance, his grandson with the things. Now, it's actually interesting. Rav Moshe would actually write Torah colossal works also among his, let's just say, his structure in himself, including the Kitvei Maram Irara, This was Psakim and Drashot, Chidushim on Halachot, and Divrei Torah with regards to the Jewish festivals. And I think it was actually compiled by his grandson, Rabbi Moshe Irrara, who we spoke about just half a minute ago. This was, I think, printed in Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel, in the Taf Shin Samachet. And I think various other writings and manuscripts of his was actually brought about by different great rabbis of his generation, which we have to point out also, and would hold, let's just say, really different works. He would actually hold. I think he relied on Rambam's various methods, which he actually will speak about, I think, in one of his books, if I'm not mistaken. So this was among his writings, and he stamech al shitat Rashbam she'in Yerusham beni et shnifta im ach chai. This is just one of his teachings, I believe. He says he also among his teachings hitnaged la'arichat chuppah beit knesset. That's just another one of his teachings. So he was the head of Jewish court, part of the rabbinic structure in Tel Aviv, which is very, very interesting. Let's explore a few more highlights with regards to great rabbis. This Or HaChaim place was, I think, the bastion of learning places in Greece while he was young, while he learned there. And I think the community of Saloniki was formerly known as the Jerusalem of the Balkans, let's just say. And it was started, becoming less and less populated at those points of time. And it's interesting. I think there was, unfortunately, a lot of looting going on in Greece, a lot of robbery, and a big fire would break out, most notably, I think, around the year 1917, if I'm mistaken. This was just looking at the history in Saloniki, and 34 out of 37 synagogues there would get ruined. I think even including, if I'm not mistaken, possibly also the Mostot and the various different community institution buildings, and 10 Jewish schools, many businesses. Many Jewish people became homeless at that point in time, and this caused a lot of, obviously, huge anti-Semitism that would actually maybe be one of the reasons why they would actually move eventually to Tel Aviv, to Israel, where I think they actually moved in the year 1932. And about as many as 20,000 people at the time would actually immigrate to Palestine. Now, the synagogue, which he was a rabbi of, I believe, in Tel Aviv, just to explore the name within regards to it, I think it was actually called Beit Knesset Eliyahu Hanavi, on the street called Levinsky. And he was a rabbi there of the Jewish congregation of the Saloniki Jews in Tel Aviv for many years, as we said before, which yes, that's very interesting. I think just a few other interesting tidbits with regards to him. I believe he would have 5 children, and sadly, I think in his lifetime, his son, Rav Avram, passed away very sadly. And it was Rabbi Ben Zion Chai Uziel that would actually appoint him to the Bet Din, the Jewish court in of itself. I think he was famous to have a regular Gemara class at the Community Council House in Tel Aviv, very, very popular and famous one. And I think various of his manuscripts are actually archived in Porat Yosef Yeshiva in Jerusalem. And we spoke about his grandson, who's a prominent rabbi nowadays, Rabbi Moshe Irrara Z'tl. Let's explore a few of the teachings from his books. He just going onto the Yimiu website, they actually teach a few of his teachings, including Melamed Chafetz Hashem Lativ Im Oivo Yishkach Sinato Be'ed Dochko. This is just one of his teachings. I think coming from this was, I think, published eventually, this teaching in the year 2008. I think it's the 16th drasha inside the book. Melamed Shebe Milchamato Omdim Litzido Gam Midotav Hatvot Lashem Hamishpat. This the third drasha, let's just say, in itself from the same book. Melamed Mitzvot Chinuch Habanim B'derech HaTorah Shekula K'neged Kol Mitzvot. How important is educating one's children? Another teaching is Melamed Litpalel B'tzarat Achenu Litzilam Mahag Ramanim V'Hasov Yatim. Very interesting. This is, I think, in Amud Reish Ayin Daled, and the same book, the 6th drasha, I believe, featured over there. So, friends, this is just exploring the life and of Rabbi Moshe Irrara, family will change its name slightly with English pronunciation. Harari. He passed away in 1958. We're talking about here from time of recording about 67 years ago. He was born in the year 1878. He lived about 80 years of age, when the great Greek originated rabbis in Eretz Israel of his time. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. We've covered on this series more than 1,000 biography videos of great chachamim from yesteryear. If you descend from any of the rabbis, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. We're near 7,000 subscribers. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, share these videos to other people. Please also, I'll appreciate it. Have a good night and Shabbat Shalom.